Hello, let me show you the controls of the BMW R1250GS. So this one is a 2020 model. So let's switch it on. It's a keyless bike. Just keep the key in your pocket for the moment. You can switch it on like this. Okay. Let's start on the left side. So here, under your finger, you pull this button to flash and you push it forward for high beam. It displays here. Okay. This button is for the cruise control. So you switch it on like this, off, on. Let's say you ride at 80 kilometers. You can then set the speed. You can then accelerate or slow down. If you touch anything like clutch, brakes, or you can even push back the throttle like this, it will stop cruising and you can resume if you pull the lever like this. And you can also switch it off like this. Okay, this button is for the LED daylight. So when it's on, you can see the little A here. That means automatically it switches to the main light when it gets dark. Whatever this is on or off, there is always something on in the front. This button is for the hazards. Nothing much to say about that. So now let's talk about these two buttons, the menu button that works with the wheel like this. You can browse through the menus with the wheel. You can browse up or down, and you can select if you push to the right the wheel, or if you pull it like this, you can also push it sideways like this. Okay? So now, I press down the menu button here to go to the menu of the bike. Okay? So here you have my vehicle info. I press down again on the button. This shows you the condition of the bike. It says check OK. There's no default. This is the coolant temperature. Oil level will display when the engine is warm and when it's been at idle long enough. The front tire pressure here. The range here. Battery voltage and the rear tire pressure. Okay, so now I'm using the wheel to go to the next page here. So I push the wheel to the right like this and it goes to the next page. I push to the left, push to the right. This is onboard computer 1. Okay, so this gives you it's like a trip meter 1. There's a second trip meter I'm going to show you. So it shows you all the data of trip 1, riding time, brake time, current kilometers of trip 1. This is the odometer, the range, average speed, average fuel consumption. If I press down, I can reset all the values, or you can reset each of them if you need. Okay, so I press up to go back to the previous page, and let's push to the right to go to the next page. So this is trip computer 2. Same thing, riding time, brake time, the kilometers of the trip 2, range, and so on. The trip 2 can be set to automatically reset every day when you start the bike. Okay. Next page now, it's another page for the the tire pressure, the difference with the first page is that here you have the specification 2.5, 2.9, and it calculates the difference with the actual tire pressure. Okay, next page is for the service requirements. Okay. So now I'm back to the first page. I press up to go back to the menu. If I push to the right, you can have a basic navigation if you download the BMW Motorad app on your smartphone. It will not display the map on the screen, but you can have the instructions, turn right or left, etc. Okay, you can also play your media from your smartphone if your smartphone is connected to the bike and if you have a headset connected to the bike. Same thing for phone calls. You can answer phone calls with the bike if everything is connected. And this page is for the settings of the bike. Okay? So to go back to the main screen, I press the menu button up like this. And when I press up again, I can display all the data of all the trip meters, trip 1, trip 2. So you have 2 average fuel consumption, trip 1, trip 2, riding time, trip 1, trip 2, brake time, trip 1, trip 2, average speed for both as well, tire pressure, the range, this is the fuel gauge, and the odometer. Okay, quite a lot of information here. So you have to press the menu button up several times to reach what you want to display. Okay? So now, this button is for ABS and traction control. ABS and traction control are flashing until you ride a few meters. If it stops flashing, that means the traction control and ABS are working properly. This button here is for the setting of the suspension. So during the ride, you can press this button and you can change the setting of the dampers here from road to dynamic. The dynamic setting will be stiffer than the road setting, that is softer. But the suspension is active suspension. So if it's the road setting, if it's soft in straight lines, it will be stiffer in curves. So you are not bothered by a too soft suspension in curves. Okay? And here on the right, you can read auto. This is for the preload. The preload can be set to auto. That means whatever the weight you put on the bike, the suspension will adjust itself automatically. And when the bike is running, you can press and hold, and you can set the preload to the maximum or the minimum setting. Okay? So now, turn signal, right, left, push to cancel. It cancels by itself as well after a while. Horn is here. On this side here, you have heated grips. When they are on, they are displayed here. There are 2 settings, and off. Okay. This button is for the riding modes. So when you press this button during the ride, you can change the riding mode to road, dynamic, enduro, or rain. So this changes the throttle response of the engine and also the setting of the suspension. So if I'm on the road setting, the suspension is on the road setting too. If I switch to dynamic, the suspension will be dynamic. Okay? So this makes a consistent setting of the bike. If you prefer to have a dynamic engine but a softer suspension, you can set it to the road setting, pressing the suspension button. Okay? So now this button is to kill the engine. Press down to start. No need to accelerate. You just press and hold the button until the engine starts. Okay. What else? Here you can adjust the height of the windshield. It's already all the way up now. Okay. So let's talk about the fuel cap now. Fuel cap is keyless as well. You cannot open it right now. You have to switch off the bike first before you can open the fuel cap. Okay, you can put unleaded 95 or 98, and to close it, you just push it down. Okay, so the bike is off now. To lock the steering, you turn the bar to the left and you press and hold the button until you hear the system locks. Okay? To unlock, very easy. Press once and you press once more to switch the bike off. Okay, let's talk about the cases now. So the cases are not keyless. You have to use the key of the bike, and the key is here. When you leave the bike, I suggest you lock the cases. Otherwise, someone who knows can very easily take the cases off the bike. I'm going to show you. So now the case is locked like this. I cannot press the yellow button. Okay, now it's open. I can press the yellow button here, and I can press the yellow button here as well. Okay? You can expand these cases. There is a lever here. You can push it down, and it makes the case 5 centimeters wider. If you don't need that extra space, I suggest you keep the bike as narrow as possible. Okay, to take the case off the bike, you have 2 red levers here. You pull this one first. This unlocks this one. And now you can take the case off. Just lift it, and you're done. Okay, the case holds on 3 different points. This one, and this one. So to put the case back, you use the bottom one first, and then you align with the other 2. Make sure the case is fully down before you lock it like this. Okay? Now let's talk about the seat. You can adjust the seat height in 2 different positions. Same thing with the key of the bike. You turn the key to the left to lift the front seat. To adjust the seat height, you have to rotate 2 parts. This one first, you can read the L here for low. You rotate this part. Okay, so now it displays the H for high. Same thing for this part here. You rotate it like this, and now you can put back the seat. It will be in the high position. Okay? Under the rear seat now, you have a few tools here, and a high visibility jacket in case you have to stop on the side of the road. You should put this on. Okay, and yes, last thing to know, this bike has the shifter up and down, so you don't have to use the clutch all the time. Okay, thank you very much for watching. If you have any questions, you have my mobile number on the contract, and enjoy your trip. Thank you very much. Bye.